What's up, sports fans? This is the Lucas Ross Sports Channel. It's time to continue our 2023 schedule preview and projected records for the 2023 college football season. We continue them with the California Golden Bears. There was a schedule last year for this California team. The overall record for this team going 4-8 overall in 2022, so it wasn't a big surprise. We knew Cal was going to be pretty young last year, and they did have a pretty tough season. You look at who they played in the non-conference last year. They played UC Davis, UNLV, and Notre Dame on the road. So they did have a pretty tough non-conference schedule. Of course, with Notre Dame on the schedule, that makes it a lot tougher. They did compete in that game, though. You had this Cal team starting out 3-1, but they did have a really brutal stretch there from October the 1st all the way to November the 12th. They got 2 wins, though, in the Pac-12 last year to Arizona and Stanford, 2 teams that were not good last year, but Arizona was decent. But Cal overall, last year, pretty tough season for this team. Like I said, they could be a sneaky team in the Pac-12 every single year. And if you are watching this video, we are down to, this is our last Power 5 team before we head into those new Power 5 teams, those 4 remaining teams that were Group of 5 teams last year. Like I said, we'll complete these projections throughout the rest of this week. So we're starting with Cal here for the last week of these projections. Here's the schedule for Cal heading into 2023. You look at who they'll play in the non-conference. They'll play North Texas here on the road. Then they'll play Auburn on September the 9th out of the SEC. Well, I'll tell you what, that's a really tough non-conference game there for Cal on September the 9th. Then they'll play Idaho here on September 16th. So they do have a pretty tough non-conference schedule. Once again, of course, Auburn, with that being on the schedule, that makes it the schedule a lot tougher for this Cal team. So, again, no divisions in the Pac-12 like it was from last year. So let's go game by game now for this Cal team. They'll start the season off with their 3 non-conference games. I got North Texas here on the road. Very losable game here for Cal. It's not going to be an easy game. From where Cal was last year, this team can really not that big. They could be not really that good this season. You never know about Cal, but they could be a sneaky good team. You never know. But they'll play Auburn after that on September 9th. They'll get this game at home. Then they'll play Idaho here on September 16th. So they do get 2 straight home games here, but there's a really good chance that Cal could start out 3-0 to begin 2023. And then they'll open up Pac-12 play here with Washington on the road on September 23rd. Then they'll play Arizona State on September 30th. Oregon State here on October 7th. So they'll get back-to-back home games here. Arizona State's very a winnable game there. And then they'll play Utah there on October the 14th. They'll get a bye week after playing that road game. And it comes at a really good time. They'll play USC here at home on October 28th. But we all know that USC's got a really high-powered offense, and it's really going to be tough for, the defense of Cal to stop this USC offense. Then they'll play Oregon on the road on November 4th. Then they'll play Washington State here on November 11th. And then they'll end things out here with back-to-back road games with Stanford and UCLA. So they do have 2 tough back-to-back road games there. Stanford's kind of in a rebuild mode, but, UCLA is obviously a tough one there on the road. That's also a rival game. You never know what can happen. So the schedule overall for Cal, pretty tough heading into 2023, especially with Auburn in the non-conference. Of course, with the Pac-12 schedule, it's going to make it a lot tougher for this Cal team to win some games this year. But let's now get to the projected record for this team. This is the scale I use for my projections. If it's a 1% game, these are the games where Cal has no chance of winning. 20%, there'll be about a couple touchdowns of underdogs. 40% in the yellow, these are games where Cal's going to be about a touchdown of an underdog, like a heavy underdog. 50-50 games, these will stay in the white. Games where they can go either way. 60%, they'll be at least favored by at least a touchdown. In the purple, 80%, they'll be favored by a couple touchdowns in double digits. And then 90% games, these are the easy wins for Cal. So we'll start with the easy wins here for California, but it was pretty tough to make an easy win here on this schedule for Cal. But I do have one easy win on that schedule, and that's Idaho here on September 16th. Idaho is not a really bad team, but, they just don't really seem like they're good every single year. So I think Cal going into this game will be favored. But, however, I don't think it's over 95%. I think it's just about right there at the 90% mark. So I'm going to say that Cal will be not a big favorite, but, maybe just by a 3-touchdown favorite. But I think, they'll be at least favored by 90%. So this is the only game I see Cal winning pretty easily. And then the blue games here, you're probably going to be shocked about this one, but I got North Texas here on the road in the blue. Just because it's on the road and based off of where Cal was from last year, I got to put this game in the blue. I mean, that's a tough road game there, and, that's a potential loss there for Cal, so you kind of don't want to sleep on that North Texas game there to begin the season on the road. Based off of where Cal was from last year, I got to put this game in the blue. And like I said, I don't have any purple games on this schedule for Cal, so I'm going to go to the underdog games now for this Cal team. And surprisingly, I don't have any red games on this schedule for Cal, but let's go to the games now where they're going to be about a couple touchdowns of underdogs in the orange. That's almost the majority of their schedule. Washington, Oregon State, Utah, USC, Oregon, and UCLA. All these teams that you're seeing in the orange were really Pac-12 championship contenders last year. Washington's got a lot of production coming back. Oregon State has a really good chance to be good this year. Utah, a lot of production coming back for that program. USC, a lot of production coming back there. And then Oregon, same thing. And then UCLA. Almost all the Pac-12 teams that you're seeing in this orange have a lot of production coming back. I mean, most of them returned their starting quarterbacks from last year. I think all these teams returned their starting quarterbacks, but not Oregon State. They'll have DJ Ogilvy coming in, but, they almost all returned their quarterbacks from last year. So this is a really tough stretch here for Cal here, but at least you don't have to play them all these games in the orange in a row. But Cal, I think, will be about a couple touchdowns of underdogs in all of these games that you're seeing in the orange. Let's go to the games now where they're going to be about a heavy underdog in, 40%. These are games where there'll be about a touchdown in, and I think you got two of those on the schedule. These are very winnable games, but they're just going to be a slight underdog in, and I got Auburn and Washington State. I know Auburn wasn't that good last year. That should be a really big 50-50 game, but I'm going to stick with it and put it in the yellow because Cal wasn't that good last year. And you can look at Washington State. That's a game I think Cal has a really good shot to win in the Pac-12. And really, that could be the only Pac-12 win perhaps this year for this Cal team. You never know about Cal. Sometimes they could be a really sneaky good team in the Pac-12, like I said. But, these games right here, both of these games, Auburn and Washington State, based off of where they were from last year, I'm going to put both of these games in the yellow. I think Auburn, based off, I know they weren't good last year, but they're an SEC team, and I think an SEC team, it's hard to project against them, so I'm going to go ahead and favor Auburn in this game, but it could switch to a 50-50 game by the time we do those predictions coming up in the month of May. We are getting close to those predictions coming up in the month of May, so... But the rest of the games here, the two games remaining in the white, Arizona State and Stanford are both 50-50 games. I think these are games where they can go either way. Cal is probably going to be the favorite against Arizona State by a field goal, and then you got Stanford. Stanford might be favored in that game. So I think Cal, these two games right here in the 50-50 games are going to be games that can go either way. So let's now get to the projection here for this Cal team. Not my official prediction. This is simply a projection based on this schedule. And it's a pretty tough schedule for Cal. So you look at the games that they're favored in and also the games that they're underdogs in. And if you count the 50-50 games, you get an overall projected record for this Cal team at 3-9 for 2023. So kind of a drop there from 4-8 last year in 2022. This time, 3-9 is the overall projected record. And it is a pretty tough schedule for Cal. We don't know how good this team is going to be in the Pac-12. Like I said, it could be a sneaky team in the Pac-12. But, I think, this team right now still has a long way to go before they can get back to that mid-tier in the Pac-12. So right now, the overall projected record comes out to be 3-9. And like I said, this was our last Power 5 team here. We've done all the 65 Power 5 teams from last year. Now we're heading into the group of 5 teams from last year that are now considered Power 5 teams. We'll do BYU, Cincinnati, we'll do UCF and Houston throughout the rest of this week, and we'll complete these schedule preview projected record series. And like I said, that's my projection for this Cal team at 3-9. Let me guys know what you think about this Cal team. What do you think their worst case scenario will be? What do you think their best case scenario is for 2023? And stay tuned here for more sports content on the Lucas Ross Sports Channel.